YouTube, not just tube. I'm running this wee Rockburn 10 watt G10 amp this is part of my getting starting the guitar as cheap as possible type thing. And I suggested buying this Yamaha guitar without the paint on it, a Yamaha EG012, or basically any Yamaha, like your Pacificas and stuff like that, all fine. So I'm going to get away with this wee 10 watt amp. I will put a picture of it up. The cable, the extension cable isn't long enough, the lead on it is not long enough for me to hold up to the camera, but I'm not going to count that as a negative point of the amp. It's long enough, it's reaching from there down onto the floor below the settee there, so it's long enough. So what I'm going to try and do is try and get a decent clean sound, and try and get a decent sort of distorted, or sort of a decent sort of middle distorted sound, and then a sort of a balls to the wall metal sound. One of the reasons I like this guitar is because it's got the humbuckers and the single coil, so I've got like a Gibson-y sounds on either end, and then the three in the middle are sort of stratty for your sort of clean. So here we go, turn it on. Right, I've just done a video for the Behringer 15 watt. Immediately this is much boxier and thinner sounding. The volume's at 1 as well, so it's probably quite loud. So really, I can't, in all honesty, describe that as a clean sound. That's distortion. I assume the button's not on. No, that is the button, the distortion button not on. So we've got just two knobs. Well, we've got volume and then treble and bass. And then, so that's my attempt at a clean sound. Which, let's be honest, that's not clean. If you put the distortion on, yeah, that's kind of what I expected. You've now got mega metal. Over the humbuckers. It seems to be pure biting treble, so that I'm wanting to turn the tone right down. Well, that just kind of destroys all the sound, doesn't it? It's all treble. And that's, as I said, the volume at 1, so... That was the volume at half. So volume is not an issue with this wee amp. It's got plenty. I mean, if you're talking about buying that for your kids, as I'm saying, the idea here is, you're buying the guitar for like a nephew or a niece or something like that who's maybe thinking about learning guitar. That's really going to piss off your brother or sister. Because I mean, if you crank that up to loud, that's going to be, it's a pure horrible grating sound as well. So ultimately, that amp it's sort of failed, to be honest. I have seen plenty of these before with different. Now I can show you. I've seen plenty of amps like this, so it's always the same, a very similar layout. Sometimes there's an extra knob, sometimes there's a dialable in distortion, and sometimes they're not as thin as that. But so yes, it's enough. It's enough to learn to play with. You'll find that if you're learning, the distortion's probably quite handy because it will hide all sorts of mistakes, but it's not exactly brilliant sounding. And I really think that, well, the thing is, I mean, I'm selling, this will be a tenner. Do you know what I mean? For a tenner, I really don't think you can go much wrong with it. It's never going to be You know, ultimately it doesn't really matter. I mean, I'm playing that, you know, that quite cheap Yamaha through it, but any of these guitars, you know, the ones that cost thousands of pounds, are going to sound exactly the same. It's not going to make any difference which guitar you plug into this, provided the guitar stays in tune, is intonated, blah blah blah. Provided it's reasonable working, you're not going to be able to tell the nuances between, you know, Seymour Duncan pickups or DiMarzios, or that doesn't happen. It probably doesn't happen with any small amps, to be honest. But something like this, if you've only got one amp, or you don't have an amp at all, and you're skint, yes, it's fine, it's great. Take this to a party, no problem at all. Jam along with your mates, you know, it's perfect. Even having it if your pal's coming over to the house and you've only got one amp, you know, you want to have a wee jam when they're playing your second guitar or whatever, give them this to play through. And also because it's just so wee, you can kind of plug anything into it. So I mean, it's not going to sound brilliant, but for like if you're jamming along with an acoustic and you've got like a bass, you can stick the bass in it, and as long as you don't have it pure dimed at full whack and blow it up, it'll be fine. Or stick a keyboard into it or anything like that. It's a pretty simple thing, quite handy to have lying about. I would recommend if you've only got one amp, a big amp, then having something like this as a secondary, especially if it's going to be like a tenner. You know, if it was 40 quid, but no, it's probably not worth it. But handy to have lying about, and it's definitely. I mean, my first amp wasn't as good as this. My second amp was made by, it wasn't Philishave, but it looked like Philipston, I think it was called, and it was basically this amp, and that was a significant upgrade from the amp I had before, which was called a Badger, which didn't have distortion. This one had distortion, therefore was there. So quality wise, it's enough of a wee speaker. It didn't really do the clean. The initial sound wasn't impressive. It's all right. There's not really much you can do with the sound. You know, you've got a bass and a treble, but I mean, the problem is cutting the bass away. You know, adding the bass and cutting the treble to try and get it sounding less tinny doesn't really work, just because it's such a small speaker. It can't really do any more bass. It's already at maximum bass, so you turn the bass up, it just goes woolly, and if you turn the treble down, you just lose all the volume. So not a glowing review of that, but again, you know, it's like, it's better than being quiet. And it will have a headphone socket and stuff on it. Yeah, it does. All of these things have headphone sockets. Even though, to be honest, I've never used headphones with a guitar. You know, even when I was at home with mum and dad, it was like, I just didn't play it that loud. You know, it's like, I suppose with the headphones you can have it pure blasting and play away, but you can still hear the guitar, the strings coming off the guitar anyway, you know, even when it's not coming through the headphones. So that is a bit more of a leisurely 8 minutes coming in rather than the 15 minutes in the last one. Not really much to do with this. Ease of use, pretty much easy. One sound, well, sort of, I suppose, clean fail, mildly distorted was usable. You know, I mean, you can still test the guitar works and still enjoy playing it. And if you're, you know, jamming along with your pals at a party when you're all drinking, that's fine. You know, it's like all you really need for that is volume. Nothing else really matters, and all the sort of nuances that have been a bit treble and stuff, if you've got like an acoustic playing along and a bass playing along, they kind of disappear into the background, so really all you need is volume. So Rockburn 10 watt coming up for sale in my great amplifier purge, because there's no point. I've actually got 3 of these, something like that. No, the other 2 aren't Rockburn. One of them is an Acoustic Solutions, and I can't remember what the other one is. You occasionally get them, you know, when I buy guitars that turn into Buckfast casters. So these are sort of things, well, is it worth doing? Is it worth painting it like Buckfast amp? And you've got to take it to bits and then paint it and put it back together again. Probably not worth it. Rock on!